right, welcome back. I'm trying to see if everyone's out there. I see just a few of you. So welcome back. We have a small panel discussion to round out the day, and then one more success story to share with you. The panel discussion will be led once again by Noel O'Connell, and they'll be discussing automation and sourcing and procurement. Noel, welcome to the stage.
Okay, good afternoon everybody again. So this panel discussion is going to be slightly different format. It's going to be shorter, and we've got Pavlin here who's come in from Bulgaria, and another customer who's actually coming in through a video link. She works for an American company, but actually in South Africa. So the panel today will be Pavlin Stoyanov, who's the chief executive of a services company called Visio. He'll explain that in a second, and also Galia Oster from American Trade and Finance. So Pavlin, can you just introduce yourself and give us some background about Visio and what you do with document automation?
Sure. Hello everyone from the stage as well. I'm Pavlin Stoyanov. I'm a lawyer. I'm still doing law. Worked a very long time in very big law firms, maybe the biggest one in Bulgaria. Also, one of them was a second-tier law firm in UK. Slowly, I decided that I wanted to do my work in a different way. I started using Excel. Then I got involved in automating the contracts of a very big oil and gas company. And now I'm leading this Visio project, which is coming from Vision of Law, where we are trying to find different solutions, technical solutions, digital solutions to optimize legal work and to help our clients digitalize not only their businesses, but their also legal support behind.
Great, thank you. So we'll see if the video link works. So I'm going to ask a question to Galia. So can you introduce yourself and give us some background of American Trade and Finance and why you were looking at document automation? So let's see if Galia joins us now.
Yes, thank you very much, Noel, and thanks for having me today. You'll see quite an interesting slide being presented at the moment. The first image that you see there is my daughter. She's waving hello to everyone at the Legito PowerUp conference today. And it's also the reason why I'm unfortunately not able to be there in person today. The second image is who we are. That's Atrofin, American Trade Finance. We are an international commercial lender and we specialize in emerging markets. My name is Galia Oster. Amongst other things, I head up the loan closing function within Atrofin, as well as new product releases and launches, and I spearhead the document automation projects for us. Some background, Atrofin has been in business for over 2 decades. We operate on 5 continents and in over 30 countries. Operating across such a diverse landscape means that we're dealing with different legal constructs in each region, which leads to different legal requirements, and that impacts the way that we do business. And in order to meet those legal requirements in each jurisdiction, it impacts our documentation. So there's a level of complexity introduced there. We're in the business of lending, as well as other trade finance products. And so we have north of 75 documents that have to be completed for a single transaction. Over and above that, some of our documentation, like our overriding document, which is our credit agreement, is north of 100 pages per document. So when I joined the company, which was in August of last year, we had our know-how and our expertise in various templates that were on different people's computers, and some had been updated for this latest requirement or that latest requirement, but there wasn't a single version of the truth available for everyone to use. And as a new person coming into the organization, I needed I needed to look for that sort of IP and have it available to me. So some of our IP was also sitting in people's heads, how to do things. This is the process that we follow when we're using this template, etc. And so we needed to find a solution that led to us having everything in one document, in one version of the truth, that was the latest, latest document, latest, most up-to-date version. And that is what led us into the document automation, down the document automation journey. So in addition to having a huge amount of complexity in terms of our documentation, we also had a lot of inconsistency and inefficiency. Everything was being done manually. We had 75 documents that all had interrelated information, but we had no way of, linking them together and, pulling information from one document into the other. So we had a lot of work to do in terms of getting us, up to speed on the efficiency scale.
Great, thank you. It's quite interesting. There's 75 documents per deal, and some of them are 100 pages long, so quite an interesting use case. So, Pavlin, can you outline the challenge that you specifically found when trying to match sourcing and procurement, bridging the gaps of these departments and kind of automating the processes? If you could just give us a little bit of a background and explain how you tackled that.
So the biggest client where we are implementing Legito for already a year and a half, I guess, maybe 1 year without the preparation. They're an international company where they have offices at around 32 countries. What we find challenging is first the great volume of contracts which are processed every day on a daily basis. Then the great volume of information behind each contract. Then the other type of challenge we are facing is the desire to control what's happening, because there are so many countries, so many people who buy something, so many people who sell something in so many different jurisdictions, everyone having different approach, different actually interest in what they're doing. And we still want to control them, even centrally. And instead of using like human resource, we decided to go and control through implementing a right process, right templates, etc. And then the final very imminent challenge and problem we are trying to solve is that the things we are buying are very directly linked to what we are selling. Pretty much we are selling what we are buying in many cases. And this is not only products, it's actually IP. And when you sell and buy IP, you actually sell and buy and sell rights and obligations, which is actually different contracts. And it is very important that the rights and obligations you get on one side are properly transferred to your end customers. And this is where we found that document automation is very useful, so we can map, not only automate the creation of the document, not only make a proper workflow, but then create a database of the different types of products we buy. So when we sell them, we can properly transfer the rights, we can properly price them without someone always checking if the sale contract matches that procurement contract. And we're in a journey to a success, I think. We started small, as everyone is saying, every day, and we're developing with every new need we find every day.
Great, so it's streamlining the process.
Streamlining the process. Every time we find that we missed something, we are not fixing it for the particular case. We always fix it in the template, we fix it in the workflow, and then we continue forward. So the lesson learned replicates very easy. And
perfect, thank you. I'll try Galia again. So it's interesting about bridging the gaps with sourcing and procurement, because actually it's a quite common use case here. So Galia also had a similar issue with sales and finance. So Galia, can you describe some of the content chaos that you resolved and how you improved the process?
Yes, of course. So I think like many organizations, we naturally have a level of crossover between our divisions in the organization. One of them being between business development and finance. Part of the business development role is to put out proposals to clients. They're doing this on a daily basis, and they're often doing it under, quite urgent timelines. They need to get a proposal in front of the client in order to win the business. Part of the process that we had was that in order to get a proposal in front of the client, you also had to generate an invoice for a good faith deposit. And these documents were sent out together to the clients. So the business development would be preparing a proposal. In the midst of that, they would have to stop their process, contact finance, who was responsible for preparing invoices, and wait on that in order to be able to reach their client. So what we decided to do is to build out the invoice, the good faith deposit invoice, within the proposal, and have business development have the ability to generate their own simple invoice, which was prepared with input from finance to ensure that there's the right controls in place. And now we no longer had business development trying to reach a finance person who may not be available when they need them in order to get a proposal out to clients. So in addition to creating the good faith deposit invoice, now that we had the functionality of invoicing on Legito, we decided to expand this into our loan servicing. So we built out all our different types of invoices, and as I run the loan closing, when I'm finished with the closing, I can now generate the invoices myself and send these to finance for them to review before they're sent to the client. So we've built out a whole loan servicing function on Legito as well, which has reduced a huge amount of workload on finance. It's bridged the gap between closing and finance, as well as the gap between sales and finance. And it's just removed, blockages and bottlenecks and any sort of time wastage that happens when a document needs to move from one division to another. So once we had finished automating the invoices, we decided to build out what is quite a complex loan amortization schedule into our documentation. Previously, we would have to juggle between a Word document and a spreadsheet on a consistent basis in order to get the information out correctly. Now what we've done is we have it all living and breathing in one space within a template in Legito. All the calculations are happening automatically. It removes the risk for calculation error. It removes the risk of human manual error when you're moving information from one document to another. And so I think that the moral of the story here is that instead of just automating a document, which doesn't really yield any valuable results, you can take a broken document and automate it, and you'll still land up with a broken document. It's just an automated broken document. And so working with Legito, we've managed to introduce a whole lot of process efficiency into our day-to-day work that is over and above, making things faster and more efficient. And I'm sure that everyone is familiar with the saying, if you've ever implemented a system before, it doesn't matter how slick your system is. If you put rubbish in, you're going to get rubbish out. So we've got really great process improvements that we've managed to implement through the implementation of Legito.
Thanks, Galia. I'm just conscious of time. So I'm actually going to ask you two questions, Pavlin, and just feel free to answer them in the order. And maybe if you can give us a 3 or 4 minute version, no more. So just in terms of your approach to converting your clients' templates, their contracts and agreements into Legito templates, what's your approach with the technical approach and maybe the psychological approach? And the second part, really, I know you're quite excited about innovation and you do a lot of work with the future. So just really, what are your plans for the future? And how do you imagine contracts in the future, legal regulations and contract execution through blockchain, which is stuff that I know you're really interested about. Yeah. So feel free to talk about the templating side and the futures in the next few minutes.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, let me start with the conversion point. I have been, and we have been trying with my team to actually sell digitalization in the law for already like 4 or 5 years. It's not easy, especially in Bulgaria, although we have a lot of developers and we are showing ourselves off as like a technical country. But still, the lawyers are conservatives. Businesses, when they go good, they're conservatives. And psychologically, it's this cliche that you always need a wow effect. It really is looked for by clients. Usually, financial institutions, when they want to fund a startup, they are always asking for the wow project, but actually I get this answer by clients. They also want to see a wow project. And then you have to find the real driver of the person you're talking to, or the organization through the representative you're talking to. And sometimes they're looking for earnings, for profit. Sometimes they're looking for outstanding among competitors. Sometimes they're just enthusiasts. And first thing you need to do is to find this real driver of the person behind. And enthusiasts are the easiest to start with, but then if you don't really solve a solution, or you don't bring a result out of the personal happiness that you're doing something cool, it's not going to get fast. What we did with our biggest client, who is also presented here, is that they actually invited me to help them legally with their contracts management, and I just started doing it through Legito, so I was showcasing them that it's happening faster and it's happening cleaner, and we are actually managing to start solving these challenges about the great volumes and managing mistakes in the great volumes, controlling what is happening, and we have a very good sight of what is happening, and they have about 2,000 or 3,000 contracts already populated in Legito, so that's a great thing. Technically, it's also a challenge. A lot of people today were saying the right things about good preparation, good hygiene, management of your Word document, etc. But from a lawyer, you have to become a little bit with the mindset of a developer or development team. So in our Visio team, we have developers, we have designers who are working on other projects, and we, the lawyers, are learning a lot from them. So we are taking the development approaches in converting Word documents into Legito documents. We have to have a good design so people use it easier. It's not just a bunch of words. We are doing this starting small, trying to scale up fast, etc. So technically, it's not also an easy thing to do, but once you do it for the first time, then it's very quick to do it again and again, and people appreciate it after they see how it works. If I have a little time, I'd love to...
40 seconds.
40 seconds about innovation. I was participating in the preparation of 2 or 3 digital directives of the European Union this year in the spheres of artificial intelligence and blockchain, and the biggest challenge is standardization. Everyone knows that if everything is standard, it's very easy to put in a law or in a contract. But then the biggest law firms and the best lawyers and the best developers, they know that standardization will stop their development. So I think this is the biggest challenge, but I see the future in having code integrated into laws and code integrated into contracts so they can integrate automatically in between each other.
Well, maybe we can talk about that tonight over a glass of wine. So the very last question to Galia. Just really, Galia, tell us about your experience of working with Legito and just outline some of the gains and benefits that you've experienced.
So naturally, in terms of launching a document automation or any automation project, you have everyone being proponents of innovation and everyone also being opponents to change. So the change management process is one of the more difficult aspects of automation, and we encountered those challenges, as I'm sure most people do in implementing change into an organization. So we had quite a lot of pushback from business. You know, people don't want someone coming and interfering in their day-to-day work, introducing new things. They just want to get on with what they're doing and doing it the way that they're used to doing it. So how did we deal with this? We had a number of approaches. The first one was to get buy-in from the top. to get buy-in from the top and to drive adoption from the top down. This meant that we had a lot less friction and a lot less pushback from the rest of the organization. Another important aspect was for us to listen to what the users were experiencing. So take their feedback, take their suggestions, and incorporate them into the template. So the template was continuously evolving to make sure that it catered for the requirements of the users that are actually using the documentation. Another thing was to, if you encounter errors or mistakes, which is part of any system implementation, having those addressed quickly. And Legito has always supported us in getting any corrections done as quickly as possible, which maintains the buy-in that we've worked so hard to obtain already. So I think those are some of the difficulties that we encountered. I'm happy to say that now we had business that was very anti-change, very anti-system implementation. We've moved from that to widespread adoption and use of all of our templates across Legito. And I think everyone's happy with the speed, with the accuracy, and with the improvements that having this document automation has introduced into the organization. So we now have a single version of the truth, so we're putting out consistent documents. We've reduced the amount of error. We've automated calculations. We've introduced efficiencies across the board. And so, the benefits are tremendous. One of the largest benefits that we've had is the ability to link our documents together. So we input information into one document, and through the smart import in Legito, we're able to auto-populate that across 75 documents that are required for a transaction, and that is a huge one for us. So, we've made a huge amount of progress in a very short amount of time, and it's been a fantastic experience working with Legito, and we look forward to working with everyone more in the future.
That's great. Well, I think we've used up all time. Pavlin, thank you so much. And thank you, Galia. And I'll hand back to you, John. I'll go this way.
Thank you.